Okay, let's move on to the last module of today, module 5. When you stop chasing, you start becoming. Let me ask you, have you ever felt like you're constantly chasing, fixing, proving, striving, but no matter what you do, it's like it's never enough? So in chapter 16, right, Lao Tzu offers a radical shift. And this is what he says. Chapter 15. Now, briefly, only when we return to extreme stillness and deep silence, we start to reconnect with our root. Now, it's not that easy to reconnect with our root. To be frank, I felt that. So, but you need to return to extreme stillness and deep silence. That's why many people who want to reconnect with their root, they go into meditation, hoping to achieve the extreme stillness and deep silence. But sometimes, wu ji bi fan, the more stillness and silence you try to get into, the more noisy your mind gets. Well, that's normal. That is the immutable law. Okay, so this stillness, if you can, leads us back to our original nature, our Ming, our destiny, our true calling. But to truly return, you must let something die within you first. Now, what needs to die? Wow, it's very scary. Something must die. Huh? Okay, so what needs to die? Let's dive deeper. Huh? Okay, look at the highlighted one. It says, reach the deepest emptiness, hold firmly to stillness. Now, this is not passive. This is powerful stillness. It is a stillness that allows clarity to return. Like muddy water settling down, when you stop stirring, it clears itself. When you're in chaos and react impulsively, you often make things worse, isn't it? But when you're grounded, when you're quiet, when you're centered, that's when you start to see the truth and the next step reveals itself. This is very powerful manifesting advice. When you're grounded, when you're quiet, when you're centered, that's when you start to see the truth and the next step will reveal. The next step will reveal. And all you need to do is to take the next step. That's why I mentioned about you don't have to see the whole staircase. What you need to do is just focus on the next step ahead. So this Chinese word called 自虚, deepest emptiness, and 守静, stillness, are two important concepts and almost most difficult to do. Like I said, for those who try to reconnect with their inner world, they try to go through meditation to achieve stillness. But the more stillness they try to achieve, the more noisy their minds get. So it's very difficult to do. But I'm not saying cannot do. It's doable. Now, some may say that, sounds simple. Not me. I didn't say it's simple. So they may say that, so simple, to be stillness and to silent, what's so hard about that? Let's be honest. That's why I mentioned, you can sit still for 1 minute, maybe 2, but by the third, you are grabbing your phone. Right? So the pain isn't in what's happening. The pain is in what you're clinging to. In this case, you are clinging to your phone. In many cases, when we let go of it must be this way, we actually set ourselves free. If we can let go of this phrase, it must be this way or it must be my way, then we can set ourselves free. So empty your attachment completely. So if you want to go into stillness, you want to go into silence, you must empty your attachment. Eve said not to give up, but to let go. That's right, empty. So just now, we talk about softness, and Eve asked about, is it surrender? Is it acceptance? Something like that is emptiness. So it's not life that stresses you. Okay? This attachment actually feel normal. But in the eyes of Tao Te Ching, they are blind habits. These blind habits makes you react like a puppet. Happy when things goes your way, lost when they don't go your way. So it's not life that stresses you. Remember this, it's not life that stresses you, it's your clinging to how you want it to be that stresses you. Example, I know of first-time young mother. Her newborn likes to cry. And her instinct is to fix it very fast. She always feels that the baby crying means baby having issues. That's why she has to fix it fast the moment the newborn cries. And what happened? In the end, she ended up with anxiety and depression. Now, while that seems true, but if she can stay grounded, not reactive, not every single time, she may probably give her baby and herself the space to feel, to release, and to reconnect. So that's the power of quiet presence, not doing, just being deeply still. I mean, not reacting to every single bug. Another example, think of someone waiting for their grab ride in the rain. One person is cursing the sky, angry, frustrated. Another person just puts on the raincoat or the hood, enjoys the cool air, and then listens to the rain. No, it's the same rain, but different experiences. Why? One is trapped in attachment, the other is free. Surrender, lor. I surrender to the situation that is raining, so be it. Lor. Okay, I surrender. And I accept the situation that is raining. Oh, but the other one is not. That one is trapped in the rain. Why rain? Why now then rain? Why when I wait for grab then it rain? So it's so trapped in the attachment. Why is it this way? Why is not that way? That's called attachment. Yeah. So if your mind needs the world to match your idea of perfect all the time, you will always suffer. But if you can release that need and be still, just like surrender and accept, you will see the peace was always there, just hidden under your nose, under the noise. So this is not weakness. This is really Tao level strength or master strength already. And it starts with one bold question. What if I didn't need this to be different in order to feel peace right now? I repeat. What if I didn't need this to be different in order to feel peace right now? So for example, the rain. What if I didn't need the weather to be different in order to feel peace right now? If you can answer that, you are at peace already. You are at stillness. So next time you feel disturbed, don't ask why is this happening to me. Instead ask, what am I holding on that's making this hard? When you can release that, when you have answers and you can release that, you will stop chasing happiness and you start living in peace. Because real strength is the ability to stay still when the world isn't. So, a quick recap before we move on to the next line. 自虚, it basically means empty your inner noise, let go of must have and must not have. That means your attachment. 守静 basically means hold your stillness long enough for your heart to settle. It's hard. You scream. You want to grab your phone. You want to attend to the baby. But every minute you stay still, you're not just coming down, you are breaking free. Lao Tzu then say, all things rise and fall, but I watch how they return. See the word return? Okay. So all things rise and fall, but the wise people, wise men see the return, the sameness behind the change. Let me explain. Many people are obsessed with the surface, like getting ahead, like being better than someone else, like standing out among the crowd or among your cohort. They chase job titles, they chase money, they chase approval, someone's approval, they chase likes, they chase fame. But they forget the truth. No matter what you gain, in the end, dust to dust, ashes to ashes. That's what we all return to in the end. So what's the point of all this in life? If the ending is the same, maybe, perhaps, we are not here to win the game. Perhaps. Okay. Okay, so no matter what you gain in the end, dust to dust, ashes to ashes, and that's what we all return to. So then in the end, what's the point of this life? If ending is the same for all of us, then perhaps we are not here to win the game. Maybe we are here to live it fully, to feel deeply, to learn richly, and to grow authentically. Maybe you should stop clinging to the outcome and start honoring the process. Honoring the process means how you live day to day. Okay, but how we live, the journey, the struggles, the failures, the comebacks, this is the process that we should be honoring. That's where the beauty lies. It's not the destination, it's that process of the struggles, of the failures, of the comebacks, of the victory, of the success, all this, the process. And that's where the beauty lies. Lao Tzu is not telling us to be passive. He's telling us to see the big picture. Yes, everything changes, and yes, everything returns. So don't cling, don't panic, and don't fear the struggle. Life is not meant to be flat and smooth anyway. That's why I've shown you the two chart, right? One is a straight line, one is a curly ball line, it's not a straight line. Our life is never meant to be a flat, smooth anyway. So if your journey has ups and downs, congratulations, you are alive. No one goes to a concert and complains about the high and lows in the music. No one watches a drama and say, why so much emotion? Yet, in real life, we want everything to be safe, we want everything to be calm, we want everything to be predictable, and then we call it a good life. It's not. Okay, it is not. So let's be real about it. So as Lao to remind us, if your life has no struggle, has no risk, has no heartbreaks, you're not living at all. You are just surviving. You are just existing. Okay. So the next time life throws you a curveball, say, this is the part where I grow. Now, that's not philosophy. That's Tao in action. That's stillness. Like the rain, like that. Rain. Okay. So when life throws you a curveball, this is just an event, a curveball event. Okay. And this is the part where I will grow. Everything in the world eventually returns to its roots. I think I mentioned that already. So, but Lao Tzu also say this, all things, no matter how flourishing or complex, eventually return to their roots. What does that mean? It means no matter how far you go in life, you always return to your origin. Not just in death. I know people will just say, oh, your origin is death. Not just in death. In every cycle, in every ending, every pause, there is a return, a reset, a root. You know, that's like you step into primary one and you thought you have ended education in primary six, but no lah. That's a reset lah. You're returning Okay, then you step into sec one, and that's the beginning. And then when you reach sec four, you thought that's the end. No Okay, then you go into A level or poly, and then when you graduate, you thought that's the end. No You step into the workforce. That's the beginning. And after that you climb all the way up, then suddenly you find that, hey, I have a new revelation. I think this is not what I want. I want to reconnect back to my inner core. So therefore you quit the corporate world and you jump into a new niche to follow your ikigai, for example. That's a new beginning. So whatever you do, there's always a returning. And then, of course, ultimately death lah. So Lao Tzu is saying, don't chase the leaves. Instead of chasing the leaves means your recognition, your other people's approval, other people's praise, money, wealth, material gains, like car, landed house. Don't chase after those leaves. You should nourish your root. Roots means your inner world. We admire the flowers, no doubt. Everyone admires the flower. Everyone admires what you have landed, what you have a Mercedes, what you have what I call that, Bentley, things like that, or you have Rolex. But the flower is temporary. The root is eternal. Many people panic when something ends. When one leaf drop, people panic. Or for example, a relationship ends, a job ends, a dream ends. But endings are not final. They are just a signal for you to return. Think about it. When a tree sheds all its leaf in autumn, right? And then in winter, is it dying? Is the tree dying? No, the tree is not dying. The tree is returning to its roots. It's getting ready to bloom again. This is called returning, reset. So why do we think our winters are the end? You know, when we have our personal life winters, we thought that's the end of the world already. No, it's when we are going through our life winters. Remember this story about these leaves and the roots that I'm sharing today. That life winters that we are going through are just the tree shedding away the leaves, and it's not the end. The trees is not dying. It's just returning to the roots, getting ready to bloom again. But not many people can understand this part here. I'll give you an example. Imagine Steve Jobs being fired from the company he founded and built at the age of 30. Now, from the outside, it seems that his life collapsed, total collapse. But his root, and what is his root? His vision, his resilience, his life force is still alive, even though he get kicked out from the company he founded. And he can grow again. And that's what he did. So what happened? Another spring came. He went back to Apple and make Apple great again. Of course, not he went back on his own. Apple called him back. Okay, so people always feel, if I lose something, it's over, it's end of the world. No, it's wrong. If your root is still strong, life will grow you again, but just in another form. I repeat, if your root is still strong, life will grow you again, just in another form only. So you don't need to fear the fall. You just need to trust the root. Because endings are not full stops. They are just comma before life writes the next sentence. So let the root work for you. Let the Tao do its thing for you. Next. Most people believe being alive means movement, must be active, and being still means death. But what if I told you that's the exact belief that keeps us constantly restless, constantly chasing, constantly escaping, and never truly living? In ancient wisdom, there's a line called 归根热静. To return basically means to return to the root is to be still. Now, we already say you must work on your roots, right? Nourish the roots so that, whatever storm comes, right, you are ready to bloom again. Okay, so but how to return to the root is stillness, is true stillness. Stillness isn't death. Stillness is returning to your true essence, I mean your root. Now, here's the thing you must listen carefully. Lao Tzu says, you must die before you die to truly start living. Now, what do you need to die first? Imagine this. In your final moment, your hands become numb, your breath becomes shallow, your mouth frozen, your brain playbacks everything you have done, not to entertain you, but to judge you. Okay, so no lawyers here, so no excuses. So there's no way they can say I'm sorry. Okay, but here's the brutal truth about things. Your good deeds don't cancel your wrong ones. I repeat, your good deeds don't cancel your wrong ones. Cannot say 1 minus 1 equals 0. No. Okay, not in the real karmic system. Now, you can't steal today and donate tomorrow and call it even. Every punch gets punched back. Every lie gets unwrapped. Sorry if any one of you is very religious and don't believe in karmic system and things like that. Just listen with a growth mindset. Okay, so let me repeat. You can't steal today and then donate tomorrow and then call it even. 1 minus 1 equals 0. No. Right? So if you knew without a doubt that your life would rewind and replay on your deathbed, would you still speak the way you do? Would you still hurt people and apologize like it erases the pain? Why I'm asking this is that now you know Lao Tzu is saying a good deed don't cancel your wrong one. Now, if you have, that means you still have to pay back for the wrong one that you did, the wrong deeds that you have done. So if you know that this is a system that all of us could go through, would you still want to hurt people and then apologize? Like, although your apology will erase the pain? Or would you, speak to your parents the way you have done so far, I mean, in a very unfilial way, something like that? Okay. Would you live on autopilot? Or would you choose stillness, awareness, and then responsibility? 复命热肠 To return to a destiny is to return to what is constant and to what is natural. Your life doesn't belong to the world. It came from the Tao, the universe, from the natural order, and it will return there. Wow. Okay. So finally, there's some answer. Where do you go? Okay. After that, so I think this is a pretty finite answer from Lao Tzu. It came from the Tao, from the natural order, and you will return there. So if you don't understand what is constant, you are not really living. You are just drifting. You are chasing illusion. You are running from yourself. You call it growth, but is it really growth? True clarity is not about being clever. It's about remembering where you came from and where you're going back to. Life begins with nature and it ends with nature. That's why ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And that's the ultimate endpoint. Okay. So life begins in the Tao and it returns to the Tao. Lah. Basically, it means 复命热肠. So ask yourself, are you moving with Tao? Now that you know you're part of Tao and you come from there, you go back to there. So now you know that, are you moving with Tao or constantly swimming against Tao? So are you alive with the real rhythm of life or are you stuck in the noise of the world? So to be a truly awakened person, it's not about being loud. It's about being clear. Clear about what? Clear about what lasts. Tao is the one that lasts. Clear about what's real. Tao is the one that's real. Clear about what never changes. Tao is the one that never changes. And when you see it very clearly, right, that's where you become really unshakable. Tai, PG, Tyrant. Most people today, they don't know what's normal anymore. They chase stimulation and then call it success. They run from silence and then they call it ambitions. They lose balance and then they call it hustle. Now the Tao says, 不知常枉作凶. When you don't know what is constant, you tend to act recklessly and then bring harm upon yourself. So most of your struggles are not punishment from life. They are the natural consequences of being out of alignment. Now, you overthink, you overdo, you overreact because you are disconnected from the 常态. Okay, what is 常态? The constant, the natural, the real rhythm of life. Then what happened? You suffer. And then you blame others. And then you say life is unfair. But the Tao will whisper to you, you did this to yourself. This is not judgment. This is not judgment. This is a wake-up call. Until you have this wake-up call, you cannot be truly living. That's why earlier on I say you must die before you die to wake up, to be truly living. When you don't know what the normal truly is, like peace, simplicity, and rhythm, you mistake chaos for reality. You think striving is strength, but it's actually resistance. So stop asking why bad things happen to you. I know of many people who always do that. When things doesn't go their way, when bad things happen to them, they will always ask, why bad things always happen to me? Now, instead of asking this, start asking, how far have you drifted from Tao? Because the moment you get disconnected, you get drifted away from Tao, you have to bear the consequences of that disconnection. And that consequences, in short, is called karma. You know, or maybe in another situation, say maybe the people keep saying, oh, they shouldn't have treated me like that. I'm so pissed off. And then you hold on to that thoughts, you know, and then it start to burn you day and night. But what if I told you they were supposed to, you know, not as punishment, but as a wake-up call? When you truly 自常 means understand the constants, understand the Tao, you see through the illusion of personal attacks. Remember just now I talked about in the meeting, you know, someone was personal attacking the guy sitting beside me. I felt so bad about him, but he didn't feel anything. So he probably saw through the illusion of personal attacks. He didn't take offense. Okay? So same for us. We have to see through the illusion of personal attacks. We don't take the offense. We just take the insight. And you don't have to shout back. Okay? And, you know, inwardly you can say, thank you for the lessons. So let's be clear about it. That is not weakness. That's not weakness. Okay, then there's another, you know, belief that's actually poisoning modern minds. And that is life must be fair. Right? A lot of people, especially young chaps nowadays, life must be fair. Or they'll say that's not fair, that's not fair, you know. How often have you said this also? So when someone else get the promotion, your colleagues get the promotion, when someone gets rewarded for doing less, when you do everything right and still get nothing. Now, fairness is a myth. I'm sorry to say that. Fairness is a myth. Justice is the truth. The Tao says true acceptance, the word acceptance leads to justice. Sounds cheap, but not the justice that you are used to, not the 包青天 kind of justice. Not that I work harder, I deserve more. No. Okay, if you say that I work harder, I deserve more, that's ego talking already. Okay, 公平的公 doesn't mean fair. It just means just. Or in 易经 terms, 合理的不公平就是公平了。And just doesn't always look fair. To be fair, just doesn't always look fair. I know this is something that a lot of people cannot accept. But hear me out. Hear me out. Remember this in 易经 terms, it's called 合理的不公平就是公平了。And 合理的不公平 doesn't always look fair on surface. I give you an example. Now, life isn't a snapshot. It's a cycle. Now, look at this. I searched for this article because I briefly remember there's such a case. So I go and search for it. And luckily I found it so that I can use this to explain. Now, look at this Lionel Messi, very famous footballer. He tried for decades to win the World Cup. He works harder than almost anyone. So in 2014, he gave up his everything, but he still lost the final. Now, do you think it's unfair to him? All right. So maybe for that moment, at that moment, when the whistle is blown, he may feel, wow, why is life so unfair? I put in all my 120% and I still couldn't get the World Cup. To him, may feel unfair. To his fans, may also feel unfair for him. But wait, don't jump into conclusion. In 2022, at the age of 35, he finally won the World Cup. Not because of one moment. So he won the World Cup not because of one moment, not because of that very moment in 2022 at age 35. No, he didn't won that because at that moment. He won because of a whole suite of journey, a cycle of effort, loss, and return. You may feel like the one still standing in the rain, while someone else just hop on the success bus and then smiling at you. But remember this, you are not looking at this moment. Right? Tao Te Ching teaches us to zoom out. 真全, the Chinese is called 真全. 真 means 完整的整. Sorry, my pinyin wrong. 整全. 完整的整啊，全 means 全部的全啊，整全。Okay, before that, Eve said, no, he did what he needs to do. Nothing's unfair. The rest is 随缘. Thank you very much, Eve. Thank you very much. If you have this mentality, then yeah, then you see things very justly. Okay, he has already done his best. There's nothing unfair about it. Okay, but that's part of the journey. That's part of the process. Okay, so let's talk about 整全. Wholeness comes when we let go of ego and trust our self nature. Self nature. So ask yourself, could this delay in winning the World Cup the first time round be setting me up for deeper growth? I'm trying to talk to Lionel Messi lah. Could this delay in the first time when he couldn't get the World Cup be setting him up for the deeper growth? Or could it be just not his time yet? You know, when you stop demanding fairness and start aligning with justice, 那边合理不公平, you regain your power, you stop blaming, and you start owning your own path, no matter how long or winding it is. Now, when your view is very narrow, only 看当下, you judge based on one job, you judge based on one rejection, you judge based on one success, you judge based on one heartbreak or one snapshot, and you think heaven 没眼, heaven is not watching. Why them? Why they get a promotion? Why not me? Right? The Tao tells us, the moment you see things fully, you know heaven has never been unfair. It's only momentarily 合理的不公平 that we don't understand at that moment. I repeat, 道德经 is telling us, the moment you see things fully, you know heaven has never been unfair. It's only momentarily 合理的不公平 that we don't understand at that point. You know, you lost something today. You look again in 5 years. Was it really a loss? You didn't get the opportunity. Maybe you were protected from something your ego couldn't see. Okay, so basically, Lao Tzu is teaching us, 天 heaven is not personal, but it's very precise. Heaven is the way of the Tao, and it doesn't bend for you. It doesn't bend for other people. Okay, and you never make mistakes. And here's the part: stop demanding the universe to be nice, but start trusting that it's always true. So zoom out far enough, and justice is everywhere. When you let go of why me and embrace, show me the whole picture, you move from complaint to clarity, from ego to alignment. So from human chaos to 天人合一, unity with heaven, you let your pain grow your vision. Because the moment you truly see whole, you finally rest in the truth that heaven was never wrong, was never unfair, not once. Now, 道乃久，没生不殆. Okay, 道乃久 means the Tao lasts. Not your hustle, not your speed, not your ego. Okay, the Tao is eternal because it doesn't rush. You or me or everyone else, we are limited. Your time, your energy, your lifespan. But the Tao, the natural way, has no expiry date. The only way to live long, to live well, and to last strong is to align with Tao. Most burnout happens not from doing too little, but from forcing what isn't natural. 反常. Most failed leadership isn't from bad ideas, but from ignoring the way. I mean, ignoring the Tao. So stop chasing shortcuts. Start syncing with the source. When I say the source, means the Tao. So you want to lead a company, raise a family, or walk your path with grace and strength, then stop asking, how can I win now? Start asking, what path will still make sense 10 years from now? Because Lao Tzu says, only what follows a Tao will survive the long haul. And yes, Lao Tzu can get very political too. Okay, so he knew if you want real transformation, be it personal or societal, that means it can apply to personal level, can apply to society, can apply to the country, can apply to the whole world. we can't just change one person at a time. We must bring the Tao, I mean Tao Te Ching, into leadership, into system, into governance. That's why in the next workshop, when we touch on chapter 16, we will explore Tao Zhen He Yi. Zhen means 政治的政, political. Tao and political combine into one, the merging of Tao and governance. Because when power walks with the way, the people will start to thrive. Okay, so that's it for this module and for this workshop. So before we wrap up today's session, I want to thank all of you for showing up with such openness and depth. The Tao is something we don't just learn, we live it. And your willingness to explore, reflect, and apply these teachings is what keeps this wisdom alive. So now, for those who have been following this Tao Te Ching journey with me, or if you are just beginning, the next two workshops will take us even deeper.